Do you think Clay is too complicated or expensive? Well, you're not alone. Whether you've wasted a ton of credits or you just don't know where to start, I'm here to simplify it for you. Hans here from Clay MBA, where we teach people just like you how to master Clay. In the next 10 minutes, you'll learn how to build lead lists 5 times faster, validate your leads for free, and create personalized outreach at scale, all using Clay. This video is perfect for anyone looking to scale their outreach without sacrificing quality or spending a ton of money. So without further ado, let's get started. So what is Clay? So you can think of Clay as a supercharged Excel or Google spreadsheet, which allows you to connect to different data sources, usually specific for lead generation. So it allows you to pull in data, manipulate it, and enrich it. It even allows you to set up automated workflows without knowing anything about coding or anything like that, which then in turn allows you to get tasks done within minutes that will usually take you hours to complete. So now that we've covered a brief overview of Clay, let's look deeper into some of the key features that they have. So some of these tasks can be about lead enrichment, meaning you can pull in data from all these different sources and enrich the data, validate the data, and move it to a different tool. Speaking of different tools, another great use case is automation. So you can have different tools communicate with each other. So you have your data on one end, you manipulate it in Clay, and then you send it to other tools that you're currently using for sales. Which leads me to integration. So because they have a really strong API connector and a lot of built-in integrations, they're up to 100 by now, you're able to sync your data easily with all the tools that you're currently using for lead generation. Then they have a no-code interface, which means that you don't need to know how to code. You don't even need to know what an API is, but you can still use it and you can still connect all your tools together. Another great use case is data management. So within Clay, you can store all your data, you can manage all your data, and you can visualize it in a way that previously wasn't really possible. Now here's where it gets really exciting. How about getting high quality leads without spending a dime? So manual prospecting takes a lot of time, whereas in Clay, they have some features like find people, find companies that previously would take people a lot of time. They would have to manually dive into LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, into Apollo. But within Clay, they've integrated that data directly into that tool, meaning you can query, you can just grab that data and you can use that as a starting point for your lead list. So how that works is pretty straightforward. You create a new table in Clay and then you go to the find people section. And that's where you can start your query. So you can even bring an external list if maybe you've already scraped a different data source that you want to enrich. But for this use case, we're going to start a new query. And you can then filter down based on company attributes, on people attributes. And if you're building multiple lists, so you could say, okay, I already have a people table for campaign number 1. I want to make sure that we don't get those same people again. Then you can exclude that, but that's not something that is the case here because we're going to start from scratch. So what we can say is we want to find SEO agencies, for example. So in their company description, they need to have SEO, search engine optimization, and we can just go with search engine. Let's add organic ranking. So that's a comma separated list. It will automatically add that. And then we only want the ones with up to 200 employees, for example. And then we can find marketing services as an industry. And we want to find the owners of those companies. So this works the same way as it would within Apollo, for example, or any other platform. So here's your preview of a list of marketing agency owners. Let's add a location as well. So here's a preview of our list of owners, founders, CEOs of marketing agencies within the US. So we can import that to a new table. You can then choose here to get fully enriched profiles, get their emails and all that. We're not going to do that because, well, Clay's data is free. The credits are pretty expensive, so we want to try and save as many credits as we can. So here we are, these people, and now as a next step, we obviously want to find these people their email addresses so that we can contact them. So for that, we click Add Enrichment, and then there's a lot of there are a lot of integrations within Clay that we can use to find their emails. Find email is a really good one that we can use. In our case, we're going to use ICPs because we have credits for that. They're really cheap. Chances are that you also have credits for a different tool that you're maybe using where you're finding emails. They even integrate with Apollo. There's a lot of different integrations where you can get emails really cheap without spending Clay credits. Then to validate the emails, we want to use an external API. So if you're not familiar, you can think of an API as a way that two different tools can connect or interact with each other. So we're going to be using a tool called Million Verifier. They're very, very cheap and their quality is really good. They're very fast at validating emails. So we have these emails right here. So even though ICP says that the certainty of that email is very sure, we've seen that that isn't always the case. So we want to make sure we double validate every single email. And again, without spending any Clay credits. So for that, we use the HTTP API connector right here that allows to connect to APIs. Now, fully going into the setup of this particular API is a little bit outside the scope of this video, but there are videos on my channel you can look at for that. In this case, we've saved it as a template, so I'm going to load that template. And as you can see, it's giving us an additional result for that email. Let me just add it as a column so we can easily see that. And then here, even though in this case, it's said that the certainty was very sure, Million Verifier tells us that it is a catch-all email address. We can add an additional step and query another API to then try and validate that catch-all email address. For now, we're not going to do that, but we have these deliverable email addresses right here that we're going to use to reach out to these people. So speaking of reaching out to these people, outreach at scale often feels really unpersonal. People know that you're sending mass emails unless there's something in there that is really specifically for them. So that is something that we're going to cover here, where first of all, we're going to add some quick free personalization. Then we're going to use AI to write some personalization for us. So one really quick hack almost that you can do where what I always say is segmentation equals personalization. So if you make your list really segmented, then the email sort of writes itself and you don't even need to involve any sort of AI. So in this case, we looked for leaders, owners, set of marketing agencies. As you can see, we have some CEOs here, but we also have founders. Now, you could argue that the founder and the owner of a company may have different feelings towards that company as a CEO, whereas the CEO, they got brought in usually from the outside to help scale that company, and then they may not be as emotionally involved as the owner or the founder. That's just like a broad generalization, but it's also for the sake of this video, just for us to show you that example. But you could also say, okay, I have a list of marketing leaders here, chief marketing officers, they maybe think about this, whereas if they have creative in their job title, they maybe think about something completely different. So they're more on the creative side of marketing. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a formula, which you can find right here. And then we're going to say, and the good thing about Clay is that, sure, if you know JavaScript, then you can just write your own formula, or you can just describe it the way you would describe it to anyone else, and it will write the formula for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if and then / job title contains owner output, owner otherwise output CO. And this is a really simple example, but it will generate the formula for us. And then based on this, we can say, okay, if this column right here equals owner, then our personalization will be personalization option 1, otherwise it will be option 2. To again show you a really overly simplified version of doing that, you could say if, and then again /, we're going to grab that column equals owner output as the owner of your marketing agency. And again, we're not going to send this, but it's going to show you, just to show you what it could look like. Otherwise output as the leader of a marketing agency. And then here you see, if it says CEO right here, it says as the leader of a marketing agency. In this case, this person is the owner of the agency, so it says as the owner of your marketing agency. Not something you would usually send or say to someone, but it goes to show you without any type of AI how you can segment within your lists and look at job titles, that type of thing, to just come up with different types of personalization. Then we do want to use AI to send even more personalized messages to these people. Now, there's a couple ways you can do that. To use AI, my rule of thumb, I suppose, for AI always is that the better the input, the better the output. So we want to make sure that we have good input to use for the AI. So then here we've taken this person, their LinkedIn profile, we've enriched it using a tool called Rapid API. It's a marketplace for APIs, which basically means it's a marketplace for different data sources that you can use within Clay that you just need to connect to. It allows you to not spend any Clay credits. And in this case, the API that we're using is really, really cheap, giving you up to hundreds of thousands of enriched LinkedIn profiles per month at a fraction of the cost of what it will cost within Clay. They even have free plans and free options. You just need to connect it to Clay and you can get all this information. So in this case, we get the person, their profile summary, we get their headline, and we get information about their company. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the company where these people work, and we're going to write something based on that. So we're going to use AI for that. And a really cool thing that Clay has is they have their own AI agent, which is called ClayGen, that allows you to research the web and just perform different tasks across the web. So in this case, and again, you can bring your own API key, so you don't have to use any credit for that. And then we have a prompt right here that basically says, review the website where this person works, and what is it that they do. So what problem do they solve? Who do they help? So that we can really have a deep dive into what the company does that we're actually reaching out to. So as you can see here, the ClayGen, so the AI agent of Clay, went to every single website of the company where these people work, so all these different marketing agencies, and it had a look at what the website does and what the company does based on their website. So in this case, Contempo Digital is a digital marketing agency that offers services such as SEO, which is what we were targeting, web design, PPC, and more, acting as a growth partner for brands. So that is something that we can definitely use, and we're going to use that as input for actual AI prompt. So here's the AI prompt that we're using. Now, it may look intimidating, but it's very straightforward. Feel free to screenshot it and use it for yourself. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to write an analogy between what the company does that we're reaching out to and what our company does, and we're going to use that in our email. So we're saying, look, this is what, for example, Contempo Digital does. They're a digital marketing agency. this is what we do. We help business owners make the most out of Clay and the lead generation. Take those two things, put them together, and write an analogy line that we can put in the email so that it really seems that we looked at, okay, hey, this is their website, this is what we do, how can we help? And then what is really important when you're using AI is that you give it really clear guardrails, not giving it too much room for creativity. Also, because you want to make sure that it fits easily within the actual email that you're writing. So in this case, we're going to give it the exact sentence that we want it to complete. So we're saying, listen, and we're going to use it as a PS section. So we're going to say, PS, a good way to think about us is just like Contempo Digital, Scope Spear, etc. helps ... We help ... So we're going to have that PS section, and we can then place that under every single email that we write. So we have our usual email saying like, hey, John, notice you run an SEO company. Lead generation may be hard, but if you take the Clay MBA, then you're going to be really good at it. Would you like more info about the Clay MBA? PS, a good way to think about us is just like, and let's see what AI comes up with. There we go. So we have that email, and it will end it with, PS, a good way to think about us is just like Contempo Digital helps brands grow their online presence. We help businesses amplify their lead generation with AI and automation. Or a good way to think about us is just like Digital Tsar helps brands boost visibility. We help businesses amplify lead generation, etc., etc. So it's a really simple AI prompt that just adds a ton of personalization to your emails by saying, hey, I had a look at what your company does, and this is how it relates to what our company does. And the PS section is a great way to add personalization, because everyone reads the PS section, that if you start with something that feels personalized, then you're pretty much guaranteed for them to read the rest of your email. And it just took us a couple minutes to set that up for 10 people, and it will take us the same amount of time to set that up for 100 or 1,000 people. We just let it run, and it will write that personalization for each and every person, and we can reach out to all of them, but in a more personalized way. There's some people believe Clay is too expensive, but I think they're wrong, and here's why. So I think that people look at Clay as a software, whereas you should be looking at it as an employee. So to give you more context to that, years and years ago, when I started my first lead generation agency, at some point we had a couple dozen of clients, and we needed close to 20 employees just to handle all the data cleanup, the personalization, getting data from one tool to another. So to be able to do that, I would either have to hire developers to get rid of that bloated headcount, or now today I can just use Clay and replace some employees. So that's how I look at Clay. I look at it as, okay, it's really just a cheap employee that can get me or my best employees to a level that previously weren't able to get. And it just allows us to serve more clients in a far better way than we used to be able to do. And we can just scale that and just only work with the best possible people, and then so that we can serve clients in the best possible way. So now when you look at pricing, there are different options that they obviously have. Now, a great option about the people company search. So if you're on the $350 per month plan, you get 10,000 people in there, which in a lot of cases is enough. And remember, you could just exclude people from other searches, so you can just easily build bigger lists if you want to. It allows you to use ClayGem, which is really a really cool feature. It allows you to bring your own API key, so to connect to other APIs, which in turn helps you to save a lot of the credits that you're getting. And in most months, I don't really use all of my credits. They just roll over to the next month. It allows you to use webhooks, which means that you can just get external data into Clay really easily. Then if you want CRM integrations like HubSpot or Salesforce, then there's the $800 a month plan, which gives you more credits, and again is still cheaper than pretty much any employee that you can find, and it's a lot more scaled than most employees as well when it comes to lead generation and just enrichment and automated workflows. So if you're really serious about mastering Clay and you're excited about how this can transform your lead generation game, then the Clay MBA is for you. It's an advanced course on how to use Clay, but it will take you from a Clay zero to a Clay hero, covering everything that we talked about today and a lot more. Even if you don't have any technical skills or you've never used Clay before, then you can definitely dive in, and from lecture 1 all the way to the end, it will take you from a beginner to someone who is confident in mastering Clay and in using Clay. So now you know how to automate your lead generation, validate and enrich your leads, and enrich them using AI, all for free. If you want to learn more about Clay and you want to start implementing this yourself, check out claymba.com. Or if you want a company to do all of this for you, then check out affluent.digital. For now, thanks for watching. Very excited to see you again in the next video, where we're going to be talking about email deliverability, which is a really big topic for 2025. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye-bye.